Right about now, this is Heavy Congress. My name is Stick Maribo, and we have 10 sound systems here in this auditorium tonight. Are you ready for more?
Run, Papa, here come Heavy Congress. So the biggest thing, next thing, nobody contest. Blaze a fire with the music, pull it on. That's in a Melbourne town. Yeah, sound system to sound system. And when we say, go on with it, the right rhythm. And when we play, done did it, you done did it. So when we say, Heavy Congress.
So over the last 15 years, the sound system culture in Melbourne has blown up. We are what you would call the sound system capital of Australia.
And we literally just said, what if 12 sound systems or more were in a circle in a public space in Melbourne? What would that be like as a live event? And Rising Festival went for it. And I came up with the name Heavy Congress on the fly.
Heavy Congress is a movement that brings a community together.
Heartical Hi-Powa sound system.
Housewife's Choice sound system.
An Adrian's Wall sound system.
Virus sound system.
DIY Hi-Fi is us.
El Grand Mono.
General Feeling sound system.
Solidarity sound system.
We are System Unknown.
There we are, something.
So when I arrived in Melbourne in 2000, there was no reggae sound systems operating.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been an explosion. When I first got into DJing, there weren't sound systems in Melbourne. I observed Heartical Hi-Fi being built over the years.
There were sound systems playing techno and other styles of music like that.
And we started building the system in 2000. There was people like Black Star. They were like a punk rock sort of sound system. There was other sort of smaller things kind of going on, but there really wasn't like a big thing when I got here. It was very sort of embryonic.
For the reggae sound system, and the sound system is very important to that music. You couldn't go to a venue or an event and hear that music being played with the correct weight and treble.
Yeah, so we did a count at the start of this year. I did a bit of digging and tried to find as many sound systems as I could. In terms of strictly reggae, I would say probably 10 or 12 in Melbourne. So reggae makes up about half of all the DIY sound systems.
We built our sound system in 2010. It's on the t-shirt.
We started building it in August of 2007.
So when we decided to build Solidarity in 2012.
I started building it in 2014.
El Grand Mono has been on the sound system circuit since December 2018.
DIY Hi-Fi is a solar-powered sound system. We've been running since 2012.
We've been collectively working in music for 40 odd years, so
I built the sound system. I felt like Dr. Frankenstein. I felt I'd built this monster that nobody wanted, no club would let me in. Couldn't find a venue because most venue owners don't understand why you want to bring a custom rig in. I was searching all around Melbourne and I come across this rundown basement club which was right in the heart of the city. It used to be an old bank vault. Used to belong to ANZ Bank. So it had thick concrete walls. And I went and spoke to the manager and I said, look, I'm looking for a venue that we can make a bit of noise. He said, you've come to the perfect place. So that's when we began. Back in 2007, we started off a monthly dance called Basement Sessions.
I heard a lot of sound systems in my time, but this thing just blew me away. Like, what the hell? So much bass.
Coming to Melbourne and going to a basement session at used to be the Night Owl.
I couldn't believe that reggae could sound so hard. So I was used to listening to, quite hardcore electronic music, and this thing was like, it just blew me away. Nothing else sounded like it.
2012, I think, was the year that things moved quite quickly in the sound system scene in Melbourne.
I think the first gig I actually went to was when Adrian and Derek were there together doing a gig, their Clash, and it was just like, what is this?
That was the first time they'd had a dance with the two sounds where they go back and forth and play back and forth. That was a crazy dance. I remember the doors were meant to open at 10 and we went outside to get some food at 8:30 and we came back at 9:15 and there were people queuing to get in the door, and it was to the point where you couldn't fit any more people in.
Sound system cultures emerged from the ghettos post-World War II, and it's about custom audio technology and community built around dancing. There are parallel sound system cultures in Jamaica, in Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, And in Melbourne, all these influences have been converging.
The whole thing, the sound, the beat, the music, is the music of the African diaspora that travelled from the big continent.
We were the first authentic picos sound system to be built outside of Colombia. The manufacturing of the pico has been in consultation with the Colombians the whole process, and the artwork was painted in Colombia.
When we were starting, we didn't consider ourselves as a sound system as such. People were running events and had sound systems that they were bringing, but as a kind of cultural thing and pushing a particular style of music or a particular community. But I don't think at the time, at 2012, people would have said we're part of sound system culture necessarily. It was there, but it's built an awful lot since then, to a point where we're now recognising all the different sound systems and how similar they are. So we're kind of coming back together.
Chris Gill literally pulled out his phone. He was delivering some records to my house. Chris is pretty central in the music community, in the bass music community in Melbourne, with his radio show and his record store, Northside Records, and pulled out his phone and said, "Hey, check out this poster." He was holding up his phone and I was looking at this sound system and I was like, oh, that is amazing.
We were looking at what we wanted to create for the sound system community in Melbourne, and we'd seen a similar guide in the UK and also one in Brazil that had looked at cataloguing sound system. I got a good friend who's an illustrator down in Geelong. We just said, hey, how would you feel about sort of reaching out and getting and sort of drawing all these sounds to kind of bring everybody together.
I said to Chris, well, that seems to be a bit of a scene on the poster. There's like 18 sound systems represented. Said, oh, wouldn't it be interesting to get a whole collection of sound systems? I'd never experienced that before. You know, what would it be like to create a Stonehenge of sound systems?
To our mind, it's the first time that it had ever been done, like you say, to sort of to break down those barriers and kind of bring everybody together under the one roof of Melbourne sound system.
Part of the pitch to the festival was there is a sort of diversity of music represented, so it's not just reggae.
My sound system plays experimental music, dub, Latin music, Brazilian music, heavy metal, dance hall, obviously, but a lot of different types. I felt it was my task when I put it together to make a sound system that made all sorts of things sound good.
Proper tough, hard sort of sounds, funky, dark electro, breaks, techno. We play even a bit of it in house even.
We pretty much appreciate all bass music.
I think our interest is more in Latin music and African music.
Techno, psytrance, steppers. Ever since we're building them, we wanted to hear drum and bass.
It's about just bringing the energy and the music to the people. And as women, I think we have enough of a point of difference just by the very nature of being women to set us apart from other performers.
I come from an activist background. I've worked on lots of anti-war, anti-racist campaigns. So I've always wanted to bring that power of sound system to the streets to make, the solidarity of the people in the streets even louder and bigger.
Party political protests, Indigenous activism stuff, refugee stuff, and our wonderful speakers run off the sun.
We've approached it as we saw an opportunity, we observed a scene kind of happening, we connected those people and we facilitated getting it off the ground.
Nobody contest. Blaze the fire with the music, pull it on them in a Melbourne town.
We have been through so many ups and downs in getting this project out, and tonight it's a testament to hard work for all the people involved, and I just want to say thank you all for coming tonight. Drop it.
Heavy Congress, the biggest thing, next thing, nobody contest.